It's July 26th. I'm Ezra Levant, and you're watching Battleground. Oh, hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. Ezra Levant here. I am back at our world headquarters in Toronto, Canada. Earlier this week, I flew to London in a whistle-stop trip. I tell you, I was only on the ground in the UK for about 7 hours. It was a 7-hour flight to get there. I was on the ground 7 hours and 7 hours to get back, approximately. It was a little bit of different. I just didn't have more time, but I wanted to get to Belmarsh, Her Majesty's Prison Belmarsh, to see how Tommy Robinson was doing with my own eyes, because I simply don't believe a word the mainstream media says. Can we get that Daily Star front page and see if you can find a version of it, not the online version, but if you look at the Daily Star, they had a headline about 2 weeks ago, front page. Like if you can find the PDF, I saw it on Twitter, of how the paper would actually have looked at a newsstand. It was shocking. They said, I mean, look, it's a tabloid, I get that, but this isn't like Elvis spotted on Mars. Like, you know that's a joke. You know that's not real. Elvis was not spotted on Mars. It's some rock formation that if you make it blurry, looks like Elvis. This is real news. So this isn't a, haha, it's a joke, aliens found in the White House. That's a joke. Oh, I just hear it's been taken down online. I guess my point is made, that it was a pack of lies that they claimed Tommy Robinson. They made two claims, and I think the second was worse than the first. The headline was, 70-year-old pensioner knocks Tommy down with one punch in the showers. Now, that was designed to make Tommy look humiliated. He's not such a tough guy. Haha, this 70-year-old guy clocked him. I'm skeptical because I've seen Tommy. I mean, he likes to box. That's his preferred sport. And he's been in 1 or 2 fights in his life, some say. So I was skeptical about that part, but it was the second part that actually irritated me. It was they claimed that Tommy walked into prison with a real swagger, and I thought, no, that's not how Tommy is in prison. I suppose I didn't know until this week what he's like in prison. But they said that, and this was in the story, and it sounds like a producer just told me in my ear that the story has been taken offline because they realize it's a pack of lies. What bugged me more, you can show the online version if you can find it, or even on Twitter, like that. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw the image. What bugged me more, it wasn't even the swagger, it was that they claimed that prisoners of all races denounced him. White, black, and Asian, which is how they say Muslim over there. And it was just too perfect. It was too on the nose. Tommy humiliated physically by a 70-year-old in the shower, so he must have been naked. The walking in with swagger to be taken down by a 70-year-old man, and the harmony, the unity in diversity at the prison that, well, he might hate me and I might hate him, but the one thing we can all agree on is we all hate Tommy, and black, white, or Asian, we all hate Tommy Robinson. And I thought, no. There we go. So these are, as you can see, this is Tommy's screenshot of it. Tommy Robinson punched in prison shower by man 70 for acting like a celebrity. Tommy Robinson decked in showers by old age pensioner on first day in prison. There's a bunch of stories. One's in the Mirror, one's in the Star. It was everywhere. So there was all this fake news. So before I even got to Tommy, I realized this must be false, because Tommy is in a prison within a prison. He is not amongst the general population. In fact, he has not seen any other prisoner with his own eyes, and no other prisoner has seen him. He is so completely isolated. The idea, I think it's for his own protection, actually. Because of how they treated him in Onley, I actually think the prison authorities are being cautious now. They're being over-careful, actually. The idea that he would be alone with another prisoner in a common shower when he's in isolation is just so palpably false. I was joking to our team here the other day. It would actually be less fake newsy if the headline were, "The Queen visits Tommy in prison." That is actually less impossible than this absolute fake news disinformation published widely in the UK. So I visited Tommy on Tuesday. I spent about an hour with him, and then I just had to go because I had a flight. Belmarsh is on the east side of London, and it's about 2 hours to get from there to Heathrow Airport. So I had to leave. My flight was at 6. I got out of the visit at 3:20, so I really cut it fine. I was literally the last person to get on the plane before they went wheels up. I want to say a quick thing. I see some folks are chipping in some super chats. I really appreciate that. I will read all of the super chats, even if I don't do it immediately. I'll come back to them. Christian England says, I can't believe the Satanist establishment in the UK had the temerity to lock up most invincible man Britain has. What's your thoughts, Ezra? Well, I'll give you my thoughts over the course of the next hour. MVP says, Trump, Bolsonaro, Morrison in Australia, and Boris Trudeau must be the next domino to fall. From your mouth to God's ears. Ivor Bradley chips in £5. Thanks, mate. Okay, can I show you something that's really neat? You know, you know me. I go to the UK about once a month for Tommy's trials, but normally I have a little bit of notice. Like normally, I can plan a few weeks in advance so I can buy an affordable ticket. But in this case, I heard from Jenna, Tommy's wife, Ezra, you got to be there on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Don't be late. Show up early. You got to register. You got to get fingerprinted. You got to get photographed. You got to get through security. So I just thought, oh my God, I got to buy a ticket. I bought it on less than a week's notice, so it's very expensive. But I had to rush there and back for various reasons. So like I said, I wasn't even gone 24 hours. And I thought, you know, I'm going to bring a little camera and film the journey. Can I show you that video? Here's 24 hours condensed to 2 minutes. Take a look. It's 7:18 p.m. I am leaving Toronto, headed to Pearson International Airport. I will get on the plane that leaves at about 8:40 p.m. It's an overnight flight, lands in Heathrow at 8:30 in the morning. From there, I will make my way to Belmarsh Prison, which is on the east side of London. My appointment to see Tommy is at 2 p.m. I expect to spend about an hour with Tommy, then leave there around 3, make my way back to Heathrow, get back to Canada tomorrow at about 8 p.m. So from leaving to returning, it's less than 24 hours. I'll just show you clips of that crazy journey in this video. I just got off the flight from Toronto. It's about a bit more than 7 hours. Slept a little bit. I've done this journey probably a dozen times now. I want to see with my own eyes and hear with my own ears every detail of how he's being treated. And just as important, I want the prison warden to know that eyes around the world are on the treatment of Tommy. Boy, I'm tired just watching that. Let me tell you, that looks a lot more fun in 2 minutes than it felt in 24 hours. You have no idea. I mean, Belmarsh, you can't just go there. You gotta. So I flew to Heathrow, took the Heathrow to London Express train. Then I got in a taxi that took me to Farringdon Station. I got another train that took me to near the prison, and then I had to take a car back because I had to record my video in the car. I didn't have time to do it on the ground. And then I went to Paddington Station, then the train back, and then Heathrow to train. Oh my God. You know, there was a Canadian movie with John Candy called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Holy moly. But we'll do it again. Why would we do that again? In fact, I have spoken to Jenna just today, and we have scheduled 2 more visits. I'm just going to see how the lad's doing. Going to give him some company because he's bored in there. Now, he's got a TV, which is good. He's got the gym. He's got an exercise bike. And the guards, he says, are friendly enough. I believe him. But he literally is in isolation. He has seen no other prisoner. That's why that Daily Star story was so stupid. No prisoner is allowed to come near him. Not even near. They call it a suite. Because he's got his cell with his, where he sleeps, and he's got the exercise bike, and then there's this little courtyard, and they call it a suite. It's very funny. There's only 3 prisoners in this whole area. This whole prison, it's a prison within a prison. So when I got there, I showed up more than an hour early. I went to the visitor center, and I had to check in. I had to give them my fingerprint. I had to take a photo. I had to show them my passport. I had to take everything out. I took my watch off, took my jacket off, took my belt off, no phone. You're not even allowed a piece of paper, let alone a pen, let alone a computer, nothing. Like, it's almost like you're naked. I mean, I had my shirt and pants on. But, and then you go through a metal detector, dog sniffers, sniffing for drugs, I presume. All sorts of, and then you go in a holding area and you wait with other visitors, but then you're taken a different way because you're going to the prison within a prison. So you're going through another set of locks and gates and passageways. And you saw what I think was anti-drone wires, because there's all these wires overhead, and I'm thinking that's probably to stop drones from dropping in packages. That's my theory. And so you walk past all this other stuff to this prison within a prison, and there's only 3 prisoners in there from what I understand. There's Tommy, there's Julian Assange, and then there's some murderer. I didn't get the details about him. And they don't see each other, but they can hear each other if they holler. So Tommy hollers to Assange, who hollers back, and I said, well, what's he like? And Tommy said, well, he's a nice bloke, and he's supportive, and they had a chuckle, imagine the 2 of us in here. And then there's this other murderer, and Tommy said he was making some joke about something, and I didn't quite catch that part, but that's the totality of his human interaction with other prisoners. No visual contact, but because they're in this same general area, and it's quiet enough, and the windows, actually when we were in a room, the window was not open, but there's this courtyard, so Tommy says they can holler. So it is a form of solitary confinement, but it's not like in Onley, where he was in a box for 23 and a half hours a day. Like I say, he's got this suite of little cells, and he tells me, and I thought this was interesting, he said that whenever the guards come to move him from cell 1 to cell 2 or whatever, the guards come in pairs. And that's the rule, that whenever they attend to him, they come in 2s. And I go, what's that? There's probably some rule about, so there's always a witness to things, so no one tries anything. I don't know. It just seems like a really weird special handling unit kind of rule. And he actually said that the governor of the prison, as we would say in North America, the warden, the guy in charge of the whole place, personally, knock, knock, how you doing today, mate? Just checks on him for like not even a minute to check and see how he's doing every day. And I thought that's very interesting. And he says he believes the warden or the governor is actually asking in good faith. And as you know, I was furious with Tommy's treatment in Onley. They starved him, put up a picture of him losing 40 pounds. When he got out of prison, when he was in prison in Onley, I did not visit him. I did not see him or communicate with him actually until he got out. I sent him emails, but I didn't hear back from him. Look at how thin he was. Look at how dazed he is. Obviously, eyes sunken, obviously shell-shock PTSD. His clothes are falling off him. He's so thin. There's a better shot of the front of him. He lost 40 pounds. Look at his face there. and look at the jackals there. So that's what he was like. And when can you put up the video of when I first saw Tommy? Remember when he came to that pub there and I greeted him? We can play that sound up even if you want. So I played him. I saw him there, and look at him. He's smiling. That's literally when he got but like that's the second I saw him, and I greeted him and everything. But I couldn't help but say, they starved you. They starved you. Like, I didn't want that to be the first words out of my mouth, but I was shocked by his appearance. I was shocked. And I didn't want to be angry there. I wanted to be friendly. I wanted to be welcoming. I didn't want the first words out of my mouth to be, oh my God, look what they've done to you. I didn't want that, but I was shocked. And it took Tommy months. It took him at least 2 months to stop being wobbly again. Because remember, in Onley, he was in solitary 23 and a half hours a day, no TV, just a box. And then he was let out for half an hour to be shouted and screamed and threatened by the Muslim prison gangs in a big cage. So it was 23 and a half hours of silence and sensory deprivation, then half an hour of shouts and threats. 23 and a half hours of silence, 30 minutes of shouts and threats. Unacceptable, starving him, etc. So I was so alert to those things when I visited him on Tuesday. But I have to say, literally within seconds, I could tell the difference. First of all, he looks fine, physically. He's wearing his own comfortable clothes. He loves his fancy brands. I don't understand the patches and all that stuff. I guess that's a football thing over there. He's got his Stone Island pants with the patch, and he's got, I don't even know the brands, but, so he's wearing his own clothes. He's not like in a prison jumpsuit or something. He says he's fine with the food. He believes it's safely prepared for him. He has no quarrels with that. He says, I told you about the prison staff coming 2 by 2. He says they're fine. And I grilled him. I mean, I didn't grill him, I pressed him is what I mean. And he said, no, they're fine. Now, of course, our whole conversation, there was this video camera in the roof and obviously microphones. So obviously the whole thing was being watched and recorded. I don't care. But I believe he was fine. I could see he was not physically unwell. I was there with 2 other of his friends. I had to leave early, but they stayed. And after the first sort of 20 minutes of just going through like checking boxes kind of questions, it was just banter. It was laughing. It was talking about this or that, catching him up. The 2 lads gave him news about some of their mutual friends. I left after an hour. I had to get to the airport. But I could just, and he laughed, you know. I bet that was the first laugh he had in 2 weeks. So I felt pretty good about that. And it was sort of fun to go in, like I was planning to go in on my own, but there's only so many visiting slots, and I thought, okay, well, I might ask these other 2 lads to step out of the room if there's something very confidential that I want to ask Tommy, but it was very evident to me that things were okay. And so it was great to have the 2 guys there, because just to have the laughs, I think he missed that, the camaraderie. Obviously, he could not be safe with other prisoners. So I suppose there is a solidarity or camaraderie or fraternity amongst men in prison. I suppose there could be, but with Tommy that couldn't be. There would be someone who would try and kill him either for ideological or religious reasons or just for reasons of fame or cash. My theory on that Daily Star story, I'm going to read your super chats in a minute. My theory on that Daily Star story is that some grifter in prison managed to get word out to the Daily Star and said, psst, I got a story for you about Tommy Robinson. You got to pay me 500 quid and I'll give you the tip. And they paid him and he said, ha ha, let me cook up a story. Like that's my theory of how that went down. I think that some conned the Daily Star and the Daily Star conned their viewers and no one would know any different. Okay, let me go in and did you send me an email? Okay, so let me catch up with the super chats. So the super chats, by the way, I'm going to take your comments. I will take more of those. My point about that is, if you want your comment to be in a bright color, you got to chip in a few quid or a few bucks, and it'll be appended to the top of the screen. and I will read them. And I know I was just rambling on there a bit, but let me just call up those and I'll read them. The Thundertaker, 2 pounds. Boris's PM, a step in the right direction for UK? Yes, obviously. I mean, how could you be worse than Theresa May? I suppose Jeremy Corbyn would be worse. Yes, I think if he doesn't deliver Brexit, I think Nigel Farage is going to come in and burn the whole thing with fire. So yes, it is a step in the right direction. John Mark Radatz, I'm not sure what currency that is, but 5,000 of them. Thank you for that. Sam McGill, $4.99. Ezra donated 50 Canadian for your visit. We need your presence here to spread the word. As you well know, the mainstream media won't cover it unless it's negative. Yeah, negative or just a pure fabrication, like that punch in the shower lie. Proud Boys Calgary, $6.99. This may be a Tommy show, but let's save Sheila too. I consider her a friend and support as much as possible. Thanks for the full show the other day. Yes, we will talk about that. It's 12:21, so we've got time. Jay, $1.99, thank you. Lude, 50 Canadian, well, that's amazing. Thank you very much. The Techno Vampire, 5 pounds. I'd love to see you speak to Boris Johnson about this. He seems to support free speech. Well, that's a goal. That's a goal. Thank you for the suggestion. Tajinder Singh, 200 rupees. Thank you for standing up openly in this world owned by fanatic Muslims. No Trump, no Modi, or any other politician will do anything. We have to fight for ourselves like old days. Very interesting. And I detect that Singh is a Sikh name. Tommy has a great friendship with Sikhs. Can you call up the video of Tommy when he went to that Sikh event? It's such a beautiful video. It's really one of my favorite Tommy videos. He did it when he was with us. Tell Jinder, stay on the line. I want to show you this beautiful video, and let me know when you got that. I would just type into, you can find it. Primpal08, $5. The establishment news media seems to believe they can print anything and people will believe it. Well, the thing is, sometimes media hold other media to account. But I have to tell you, it doesn't work that way in the UK because the media are all colluding with each other in the anti-Tommy narrative. And I've seen that with my own eyes. So the media have a huge blind spot with Tommy. They're overcome with their own rage, so they can't report accurately what's going on. And normally other media would mock and laugh the Daily Star in countless ways, but they sort of liked the lie. I think they all knew it was bogus too, but they liked it too much. Lindsay Gallagher, $4.99. Tommy staying here when he gets out to make England great again with Boris. Thanks for the videos, Ezra. You're welcome, Lindsay. Neil Thomas, 10 quid. Thank you. I see another question that's not a super chat from Adam the Long. Can Tommy be granted asylum by the U.S. while in prison? Well, theoretically, yes. And I had a conversation with Tommy about the subject in prison, but I don't want to publicize that part of my meeting with him. Asylum has to be applied for. It would be most unusual for a government to grant it without receiving a proper legal application. And that could be done at a U.S. embassy, at a U.S. port of entry, like an airport. But simply going on YouTube and saying, I'd like asylum, that's not really how it works. You know, can we do sound up for that whole thing? And, okay. So, I see Alan Parker says, has Farage acknowledged Tommy? Yes, Farage has acknowledged Tommy in a negative manner. He has criticized him, and my theory on that is the further conservative you are in UK politics, the more vociferous you feel the need to be to distance yourself from Tommy, lest you be tagged by the media mob as a far-right radical. And I think that Nigel Farage is so worried about being tagged far-right that he protests too much about Tommy Robinson. I don't know where Boris Johnson is on the subject, to be candid. Machiavelli sucks as should women be in politics. I think they certainly can be. And Margaret Thatcher, Indira Gandhi, you know, just two obvious examples of tough broads who didn't need some quota in Israel. You had Golda Meir. Like, there are some tough, strong women who don't play the victim card, quota card, grievance card, feminist card. No one voted for Margaret Thatcher as a tokenism. They voted for her because she was one tough broad who helped that country in enormous ways. So I mean, I think Margaret Thatcher's a great example. Now, I mentioned Tommy and the Sikhs. We got a great video of him. There's a very short video, but it's one of my favorites. Why don't you go ahead and play it?
So we're in Birmingham, where we've come to this temple where they're having a little demonstration and get together to show that Sikhs stand against what happened in Manchester. So many times the Sikh community are wrongly identified as problematic by uneducated people. So across the country, Sikhs, I've spent the last 6-7 years forming relationships with Sikhs across the country, and we couldn't ask, and no one could ask for a better minority group, a more loyal, a more patriotic, a more hard-working group of people. So the fact that after September 11th, Sikhs were killed, after the Lee Rigby killing, a Sikh was murdered in a horrific attack in response to it. So by morons. So yeah, I think if I've got any sort of platform, I want to show the great side of the Sikh community, where they stand on all of these issues. They've been fighting against Islamic extremism throughout their whole history of their religion, of their community.
We're doing a vigil here in solidarity with Manchester. We've got a great banner outside that says the Sikhs stand with those who lost their lives in Manchester.
Although it's left to our platforms to educate people.
Definitely.
I think the BBC should be educating them. I think everyone in this country should know everyone should know the sacrifices the Sikh community made throughout history, yeah, for Britain as well, from the First World War, Second World War, and I think they should know now the contributions that they make into our country. Because I know, I've looked into Sikhism so much. I've spent a lot of time over the years meeting with groups, organisations, and I just want people that follow me to understand exactly what I do.
I really like that video for about 5 reasons, so I hope you do too. Wayne Young, thanks Ezra, looking forward to the 3rd of August. Now I better check my calendar to make sure I know what the 3rd of August is. Vincent Lucarelli, the last investigative journalist alive. Everything else has been referred to me as Vinnie Luke. Vinnie Luke. Okay, that's your nickname. Got it. Well, by the way, and let me just check my phone because I'm coming back. In fact, just today, I booked 2 more visits. We set up this website. It's not a great website. It's just a website. It's a compilation page, really. prisonreports.com. And here's what I mean by that. So Tommy's in prison for 66 days, right? And I think today is day 15, if my math is right. So we've put together this page. It looks like a regular wearable page. And it's got all our videos from Belmarsh prison. Justin, can you send a note to Martin to put the travel log vid up there too? And the reason I'm called Prison Reports, plural, is because I'm not just going over there once. And here's why. I don't know if you recall, but when Tommy was put in prison last time, he was first put in HMP Hull. HMP stands for Her Majesty's Prison, Hull. And he was put in the hospital ward. And he was the only prisoner in there. It wasn't a special handling unit like in Belmarsh, but it just happened to be no prisoner was sick. So Tommy had the hospital ward all to himself. And it made a lot of sense. He was isolated from the other prisoners. It gave him room to walk around. I mean, Tommy obviously is zero threat. He doesn't have to be like in a cage or something. And he had some walk-around time and some socializing time, and he had a prison visit, and everything was going great until it didn't. And then one day, without notice or explanation or appeal, Tommy was taken from the safety of HMP Hull and taken to one of the most dangerous prisons in the country for him, HMP Onley, where the governor said, oh, what can I do? I got to throw you in the hole to protect your life. Yeah, oh, no TV, put you in the hole, starve you. You got to buy your own food, but you're only allowed to buy 1 can of tuna, 1 piece of food a day. And then for your exercise, you can run around and be sworn and assaulted. And we'll actually let terrorists go to your cell. This happened in Onley. They actually let the terrorists go to his cell door and give Tommy, like that's how awful it was in Onley. That was deliberate. Tommy would have been fine at HMP Hull. He would have been safe, but that's not what the authorities wanted. And so my point about prison visits, plural, is to keep going there, not just because I want to make sure with my own eyes and visit the lad, but I want to make sure that the prison authorities know that if they are thinking of pulling another Onley, if they're thinking of moving the lad out of his safety now to somewhere else, they ought to know that someone's watching, someone who's got a big mouth and who could maybe even raise a bit of a ruckus. So I'm just looking here. We will have 2 more visits. We've just today. I'll be back there in about 10 days. And then we've got another visit in mid-August. So we've got one in early August and mid-August. Now Tommy's out in mid-September. So I think we're going to have 3 or 4 more visits. And I know you're thinking, you don't need to, mate. He's fine. Or maybe you're thinking that. You're thinking, why are you coming from Canada? Well, there's 2 reasons for that. First of all, I don't trust anyone else to ask the right questions. I don't trust anyone to be skeptical enough. Like, I want to be extremely skeptical. Now, Tommy, I convinced myself with my own eyes and ears. So the first thing is I don't trust anyone else. Is there someone else you trust to do it? If so, they should go. They should go. But I know I trust myself, and hopefully you trust me. The second is the prison authority needs to know someone's watching. And I guess the third is the same as the first. If there's someone else who wants to go, they should go. Frankly, I wish there were more, and not just buddies. Like his buddies are, his family's visiting him, his buddies are visiting. But I want a fighter is what I mean. Someone who is so skeptical of things that they're hunting for problems, not looking for problems, but turning over every stone. Who's not going to say, oh, is that normal? No, the answer is it's not normal, and what's going on here? And can immediately go out and have a big megaphone. I did a couple videos from London. It was a very quick trip. You saw how quick it was. I did a couple quick videos, and they were seen, I don't know, probably collectively 300,000 times or whatever, I don't know, on Twitter too. And that's the thing, is whoever goes, I want them to be extremely skeptical, to know enough about how Tommy's being treated historically to know the things to watch for. And if something's wrong, do they have a way to shout about it? Obviously, that rules out any mainstream media, obviously. So who else is there? I don't know. If there's someone else, they should go too. But I'm not waiting around for that. I know that last time they changed things on a last-minute basis. So I'm going back in early August, and we'll go back another time in mid-August, and we'll keep doing it. I mean, I don't want to go every week. That's a bit nuts. It's a tiring trip from Canada. But I think we should do it. What do you think? I see some super chats have come in. Have I missed any? Have I missed it? Let me take a look to see if I read Lindsay Gallagher and Neil Thomas, 10 pounds. Thanks very much for that. So I think I'm up to speed. Oh, there's another one from the Thundertaker. Let me find that. I got a lot of windows open on my okay. I just want to read it. I think it's from the Thundertaker. I don't want to miss it if someone's chipping in. There we go. The Thundertaker. What happened with Hobbs, with S. Hobbs and secret sources? I presume you mean Shazia Hobbs. I don't know. I've met her once, and I really don't know her, and I haven't been following some of the. I understand there's been some drama or something. I just haven't had time to follow that. So I can't speak to it. But here's what I do know is. I'm going to visit Tommy in prison. I see, like, as you know, when Tommy got into a pickle, what is it, 15 months ago now, I felt like no one was around to help him, so we set up the crowdfunding, and we did the journalism. Now, when he got out of jail, I said, all right, well, you're not a charity case anymore. You can handle your own affairs. So we shut down the crowdfunding for him, and he's doing it for himself. But I kept doing the journalism. So I've attended so many court hearings in the UK, it's ridiculous. So now he's in prison. I think it's an important thing to do these prison visits. And then when he's out, unless there's any more litigation, and God forbid more prison, I mean, I'll keep in touch with the lad, and I'm curious about what he's doing. If there's any exciting things, like if he's got another movie premiere, I'll go over to cover it. But I see my job as just filling in gaps where there's no one else to fill in those gaps. So I don't trust anyone else to do the proper court reportage. I've tried to bring others along, as you know. I don't trust anyone else to do the prison reports. If someone else wants to, please do. Please do. But if he's out of prison, if there's no more litigation pending against him, I think I'll just sort of take a step back. I'll keep reporting when he does something newsworthy, but I don't need to go to the UK every month or every week after that. I mean, obviously I support Tommy, I'm a buddy of his, but he does have his own thing, right? He's got tr.news, that's his news site. He's got some people around him who are being more helpful than his staff in the past have been. So my job is really, I just want to make sure that the prison doesn't try any more trickery on him. Do you agree with that mission? That's my mission. All right, so we showed you the travel video, which I thought was pretty fun. We showed you Skinny Tommy. We showed you the Sikh video, and it's 12:36. I'm gonna take 10 more minutes on this subject because I know people are thirsty for questions about the prison visit. I refer you to my 17-minute report that I did on prisonreports.com. That's what I said right when I got out of prison, visiting him. So those thoughts were fresh on my mind. But if I said something unclear, or if there's something you would like me to address, why don't you put it in a question form now? So I will take, how about, it's 12:37 here, let's go to 12:45 Toronto time, and then we'll spend the last 15 minutes on a Canadian free speech case that actually involves our chief reporter, Sheila Gunn Reid, in Alberta. So we'll go till 12:45, which is 5:45 in the UK, on questions about Tommy in prison, and then we'll shift gears, and hopefully some of you who are interested in Tommy's freedom case will stick around to hear about our freedom case, but if you don't, I understand. So I'm just going to read questions, and if you want me to be sure to read yours, you can make it a super chat. Chris Burton, why don't you trust Katie Hopkins, Ezra? I don't distrust Katie Hopkins. She worked for the Rebel for a while. I think she could be a good prison visit. I don't know how she gets along with Tommy. I saw she did a video on Tommy's sentencing day. So yeah, I don't object to that. She doesn't work for us anymore is maybe one answer. But I would encourage her to visit Tommy. So that's my answer to that. Primpal08, they may have figured out that having Tommy killed in prison will make him a martyr. Lesser known people won't be so lucky. I wonder how many prison executions have been carried out to this point. Yeah, that's, well, there's some truth to that. I mean, I, as you know, worked with Tommy a couple of years ago, and then he left us and he went independent and he was doing very well, but his unconscionable prosecution and imprisonment only made him a hero. It proved his narrative that he was an enemy of the establishment and that they were out to get him, illegally so, the Court of Appeal proved. So yes, you're right. J.B. Duke, has Tommy ever been to Canada? No, I don't think so. Ezra, where can I get a pair of them bifocals? They look like bifocals, they're just regular glasses. The frame broke, I put it together with crazy glue, so maybe you see the little split there. I need new glasses, I broke them, and I just haven't had time to get new ones, so I crazy glued them. I know that's sort of a nerdy thing to do. Square Eyes, hi Ezra, what has happened to Jack Buckby, one of the reporters for the Rebel Media? I haven't seen any videos from him in months. That's right, he and Martina have gone independent, so they have their own forums now. Ken Shabby, speaking as a lawyer, Ezra, when Tommy Robinson is released, is he free to travel to Canada, USA, etc.? Well, I'm not a practicing lawyer anymore, however, I was a lawyer, and I think the problem with those trips are twofold. First of all, he does have a criminal record, which makes it difficult to travel. And one of his offenses was for using a passport not his own. So I think he would find it difficult to travel to Canada and the United States without a political waiver. Donald Trump's office may provide such a waiver, I don't know. But Canada is most unlikely to, given the political stance of our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I would love to host Tommy in Canada. Put on some events, I'm sure we'd sell them out. A lot of people would come to hear him speak. I'm just looking for some... oh, there's a super chat there. Let me just take a look. See, thanks for everything you've done for Tommy. Your coverage on his story has been superb. He has great support here in the USA. Freedom of speech should be a basic human right for everyone. Yeah. Last week, did we show the Scottish vid? You've got it there? Oh, you weren't here? You know what? If you can find it, maybe send a note to, I think it was Martin. I tweeted it. It was a vid of a Scottish guy who, the police came to his home because he had a 3-word sign on his property. I tweeted it. If you look at my tweets, I said, most valuable thing. Americans, what's your most valuable thing? Is it your house? Is it your money or something? I don't know. It's a video taken by a Scot. I'd love to show that. Sorry for that very vague description of it, Justin. Maybe email Martin or Alex, they might know. I want to show you if we can find it. I know that's an extremely vague description, but there's this one, you American, you Americans, you have to understand that whatever you think is valuable, money, whatever, is less valuable than your First Amendment. Because without that First Amendment, everything can be lost. And let me know when you got that version. Obviously, we want the sound up. Because I'm going to show you this video of what happened in, it sounds like Scotland. I should do some more due diligence on this clip. This is unthinkable in Texas, Colorado, Arizona, Montana. I want to show you a video. We'll play a fair bit of it from Scotland. And let me ask you, my American friends, would this even be conceivable in your land of the First Amendment? Here, take a look.
I am making a stand and putting my word out there in my own way possible without interfering with anybody else by decorating my own house.
Hang on. Without going to civil war and let people know how I feel, I'm making a stand and putting my word out there.
Without causing trouble to anybody else by decorating my own property with non-offensive words
to anyone else. I am decorating
the outside of my house with words
property
to let the world know I am unhappy.
With words to let the world know I am unhappy.
Unhappy. And there is no offensive words.
There is no offensive words.
And this makes a point of the whole point of what I have painted of is
Slow down again, slow down. And this makes a point
of the whole point I'm trying to make.
This makes a point of the whole point I'm trying to make.
By painting the words.
To make.
Bloody disgusting.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
By painting the words, Islamophobia is questionable.
Trying to make by painting.
Can you not see Sharia law creeping in here? That is Sharia law by not being able to ask questions or criticise it or see what it's about or talk about it. Everybody is in fear of it, and that is the whole point of that it is questionable. It's freedom of speech, and if you want to talk about Islam, you can.
Now, maybe that was a thick accent for some of my Canadian and American friends to understand. Maybe my ears have adjusted to all the cacophony of wonderful accents I hear when I go to the United Kingdom. But I hope that was clear enough for you. How many cops were in that room? Did you count? Was there 4, 5, 6 in a man's home? And what were they doing? Could you pick that up? Could you decipher it through the accents? Apparently someone on their own property wrote 3 words. Islamophobia is questionable. So Islamophobia is the term for people who criticize Islam. It's a doctrine, a philosophy, a belief system. Islam is not a person, it's an idea. Every idea can be criticized in a free society. Is questionable. That's not even saying Islamophobia is fake. Islamophobia is censorship. It is questionable. Isn't every idea questionable? Are we not allowed to question every idea? And for writing those 3 words on his own property, how many policemen were in his home? I want to do more research on this case, but I understand this man was taken into custody. Even if he weren't taken into custody, you have 5 cops in your home. Do you think you're likely to do that again? Do you think your neighbors are likely to do that again? That's what they do in a police state. Isn't that what they do in a police state? Do you know that there are 900 police working for the Metropolitan London Police Force alone on the hate speech beat? 900. How many home visits like that do they? You can't get a doctor to give you a house call in the UK, but boy, you can get a cop. Not if you've been robbed. I mean, look, they don't got time. We don't got the resources. You've been robbed. Suck it up, buttercup. But you do a tweet. You tweet Islamophobic is questionable. Actually, you just wrote that or painted that. Get ready for some time in prison. Matt Dugard chips in $69.99. Thank you for that. Colin Buckley, £20. Tommy is a lion. Your support for him is so deeply appreciated. We've lost freedom of speech here in the UK, so the rebel voice is vital. Please keep going. Do you sense a great media awakening is coming? In answer to your question, I am sorry that my answer is no. I do not sense a great media awakening coming. I see that the tide is going out, and I don't see it coming in. I'm sorry. I wish I had a different answer for you. It's 12:47. I said I would pivot to Sheila's case, but I feel like there's a great interest in Tommy, so we'll go 3 more minutes in that. Proud Boys Calgary, what happened to a man's home is his castle? Exactly. The castle doctrine, ancient, predates. It's ancient, and it's British. Ben Stovall, only person we have asking real questions. Also, have you thought of working with O'Keefe? I think you refer to James O'Keefe of Project Veritas in the United States. I would regard him as a friend. I've met him several times in person. I really admire him. We interview him on our show when he has scoops. So I think our journalistic approach is a different one than his, but he's the best at what he does, and we like to talk to him. Maeve, 1985. If he had wrote Christianity is questionable, they wouldn't have done a damn thing. Oh, you're so exactly right. I'm sure I've told you the story before of when I was in Sunderland a couple years ago. I was meeting with a family, Chelsea Wright's family actually. And a friend or a neighbor said he had the Union flag, also called the Union Jack sometimes, the Union flag up on his backyard, and the police came and told him to take it down. The country's own flag. The Union flag, you know, that's the United Kingdom, the flag that shows, if that's what the Union Jack is, it's the various crosses of, you know, St. Andrews and St. George's and what's the other one? Help me out, my UK friends. That is the nation. That is the nation. That's the kingdoms united. That's the name of the country. Those flags, those are the symbol of the countries. United in the kingdom. You can't show that. Put the Union flag up. Just put any image of it. Like this, it's not even a thing. It's just different. It's St. Andrew's Cross and St. George's, and you can't even show it. It's the national flag. It's not even a thing. Like the Hezbollah flag, like Jeremy Corbyn. That's the Union flag. Also called the Union Jack. Like, I'm sorry, what's offensive about that? What is it? I mean, you know, we all see that. That's iconic. That just means UK. Why is that? Why can you not show that? Sure, that's so obvious. I don't even know why I asked you to show it, but I just, like, I don't know. That's the United Kingdom. That's the United Kingdom. The police tell people to take down their Union flag, and for sure the cross of St. George. which is the English flag. I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I thought it was about, I thought the UK was the mother of all parliaments, the home of our rule of law, the land of free speech, John Milton, Areopagitica, the Magna Carta. I thought all of that was the UK, and here I am in the Commonwealth in Canada, one of the daughters of the Empire, Canada is. And what happened? What happened to London? I don't know. Okay, well, it's 12:51, and I do want to tell you about Sheila Gunn Reid. So for those of you who joined us only for Tommy, I thank you for that, and I would invite you to stick around for the last 10 minutes if you want to hear a story from our own country, because we fight for freedom every day, not just for Tommy. We fight for freedom for Tommy because we know Tommy, we're friends with Tommy, and no one else fit the gap. But we fight for our own freedom too here in our home country of Canada. Earlier this year we published a book. Can you put an image of the book itself up? The book was about a politician named Rachel Notley, who was the provincial premier for the province of Alberta, about 4.5 million people. It's actually my home province where I come from. 4.5 million people. So that's the book. Stop Notley, the case against the NDP, from the #1 best-selling author of The Destroyers and the case against David Zucchi. Sheila Gunn Reid is the author. So that's the book. It's a shorty, 83 pages, no big deal. We sold it for $5 on Amazon, 10 in paperback, 5 ebook. And the book did great. I think it went up to #2 on the Canadian bestseller list on Amazon.ca. That's pretty good for a fairly niche product, you know. And oh boy, did that woman, Rachel Notley, hate that book. She's hated Sheila for a while. Now, she lost the election. Albertans did, in fact, stop Notley. But just like Barack Obama had a bunch of appointees in the U.S. government that continued to operate after the war was lost, they sort of harassed Donald Trump. That's where the whole collusion thing came from. Rachel Notley placed her little time bombs in the government bureaucracy too, that were still active after she lost. It's like those Japanese soldiers. After World War II was over, they were in the Philippine jungles, and either they didn't know the war was over, or they knew but they wanted to keep fighting. I guess it happened in Germany also. There was sort of rogue Nazi bands that refused to surrender. I think they were called the werewolves, that continued to attack the occupying Allied forces for years. So these NDP holdovers of Rachel Notley, one of them has come to prosecute our Sheila Gunn Reid for that book. Now, I should tell you that we also promoted that book through election-style lawn signs, which I thought was a pretty clever thing. That's a lawn sign. It looks like a voting lawn sign, but it's a book lawn sign. Isn't that funny? Completely legal, of course. And if you got a problem with the lawn sign, come to me. I'm the guy who came up with the concept and lawyered it and bought them and paid for them, and that's my job. I'm the publisher of the book. Sheila's job is a simple one: be a reporter and an author. She had nothing to do with the business side of things. She's the author, I'm the publisher. That's how it goes. But Rachel Notley's appointee hired a private investigator, an ex-cop, to go after Sheila and demand that she hand over to the government all of her notes on the book, emails, memos, briefing notes. They said all these things. Communications with me about the book. Why did you time the book this way? How did you decide to do the book? I'm sorry, are we in Venezuela or Iran or Russia? And this, it's not even a joke. Like in Canada, this is the government. This is going after an author for a book. Do you see, this is not dissimilar to Tommy's fight. Not on the same scale, Sheila wouldn't be thrown in solitary confinement, I don't think. But are you kidding me? So Sheila, being smart, called this investigator, this cop, and in sort of a Tommy Robinson movie, you know, Tommy stung the stingers on that Panodrama thing. Tommy had his own cameras recording the cameraman. Sheila recorded the investigators investigating her. She investigated the investigators. And can I play for you some of the clips This is the government holdovers from the NDP, Rachel Notley, who are going after Sheila because she wrote a book critical of the last politician. So here is a recording. I got a few of them. Why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with the one called complaints? Because Sheila said, "Can I see the copy of the complaint against us? I mean, what was I alleged to do wrong? Who did the complaint? Like, it's pretty basic. What's the case against me?" Take a listen to this.
I'll be able to tell you what the gist of the complaints are. It just has to do with advertising. People see the lawn signs and they go, "Oh, that lawn sign looks just like the political lawn sign. So this person must be doing political advertising." So the complaints are all about the lawn signs and if they're political advertising or if they're not.
Okay, so that sounds not good, but it sounds like so they don't care about the book, right? He was pretty clear about that. Do we have one that shows, though, after saying, "Oh, no, I don't have to show you the complaints, just take my word for it, it's about the lawn signs," but now, do we have a clip that shows him demanding all of her notes? So you just heard him say, "Oh, no, don't worry, it's not about the book, I got a question for the lawn signs," which is weird because I'm the guy who bought and paid for the lawn signs and he hasn't even talked to me. He's calling our author. What's the author got to do with the lawn signs? "Oh, no, it's not about the book. No. But then he says, "You better damn well give over those book notes." Do we have that clip, or a clip to that effect? Go to the threat one. Here's a 2-minute clip. Here, listen to this.
You've asked me to come by and answer your questions. Now, if I don't do that, can you order me to answer with a summons or something like that, like a subpoena?
You want a subpoena?
No, I'm just asking you, like if I don't come by and answer your questions about my book, what happens then? Will you issue me a summons?
Well, is there a reason that you don't want to clear this up?
That wasn't really my, it's not that I don't want to clear this up at all. I'm just curious, what happens if I don't come by?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of, authorities for the election commissioner to, to not compel, but there are the word is consequences for people that that don't provide the information and that type of thing. So I mean, if you carry it through to its logical conclusion, yeah, I mean, there's production orders, there's all kinds of things there's all kinds of tools that can be done, but they're all fairly extreme. And when we do those things, we can do those types of things, but it's in this case, I really think that we can just kind of clear this up pretty quickly. Just with the conversation, and if there's any documents you can show me about, this is when, if there's a book deal, this is when it was signed, this is when it was planned to be, this is kind of when we think it might hit the market, be available for the public. When those first plans started to be made, that type of thing. Just a little bit of background about that.
Did you catch that? So you heard in the earlier clip, he said, no, it's not about the book. I'm just asking about the lawn signs. But he said, show me your book deal. Show me when you signed it. Show me when your marketing plan. Show me when you decided to go public with it. Show me your plans. In another recording, he said, I want to see emails. I want to see briefing notes. And Sheila said, well, if I don't give you this, I'm an author. If I don't give you this, are you going to subpoena me and summon me? And he laughed and said, why, you don't want to give it? And he laughed and he never answered. Well, he later did. In fact, he later said if she doesn't give that information, he'll prosecute her. You know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. I find it's 1 o'clock, but let me close with this. And actually, I'll read any more super chats. Have I missed any? Dan So we've just fought with Tommy Robinson for 15 months, haven't we? And we've gone to extraordinary lengths. I'm not complimenting ourselves. I'm just saying we have. It's, just lengths. Like just measure it in miles, let alone the crowdfunding we've done for the lad. We've done what other journalists won't do to defend Tommy's freedom in a country that is not my home, the UK. One of the things that got me into politics and journalism more than a dozen years ago, I was already in it, but it really cemented me, was when I published the Danish cartoons of the Muslim prophet Muhammad, and I was prosecuted in Canada for 3 years for that, and I fought all the way, and the government blinked. Does this little twerp, this little government investigator, this little thug, think that we're gonna bend the knee? I mean, Sheila is very brave as an individual. She's with the rebel. I mean, what do we stand for if not for free speech and opposition to government meddling and censorship? What have I spent my life doing besides that? Fighting against, if I'm fighting against this Islamic extremists who tell me I can't publish a Danish cartoon of Muhammad, if I'm fighting with Tommy Robinson for his right to report on rape gangs, do you think I'm going to be afraid of some thuggish bureaucrat who thinks they're going to get our author's book notes? Does he think we're going to roll over? Bring it. Bring it. If you want to help us with that one, check out savesheila.com. Sheila's our reporter. I know I didn't spend a lot of time on this today. I was mainly talking about Tommy Robinson. But it's staggering to me that I think they think that we're going to roll over. Do they not know we'll go all the way to the Supreme Court? And as Sheila said on my show earlier this week, that she has resolved that she herself will go to prison if that's what it takes. I wonder if these idiots will actually go forward with it. We'll find out soon enough. All right, folks, it's 1:02. We're 2 minutes past our end time. I want to thank you so much. Oh, there's one super chat I think I missed. I'm just going to check my email because our producer just sent it to me. I'm just going to read that super chat and then I'll say goodbye to you. By the way, I'm just waiting for my emails to load here. My computer's sort of slow right now. I do a show every day at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's behind a paywall. If you want more of this content, I do it's almost an hour every day. You can subscribe at therebel.media/shows. I'm afraid that my super chats aren't loaded. I'm not getting my emails right now for some weird reason. I'm scrolling a bit up. Can you read it to me in my ear, Justin? Because I actually can't even find it, I'm afraid. 22 Norwegian kroner. And what's the name of the fella again? Kappa Dessau. Okay, and what is he saying? Is it the Islamic State of Europe and Great Britain? Well, it's going there. It's going there. In some ways, Sharia law is becoming the de facto law in certain parts of Birmingham, Bradford, Luton, a lot of these neighborhoods. All right, folks, it's 1:04. Thanks for your time today. Until next time, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home everywhere, good night, and keep fighting for freedom.